Okay, welcome to the next part of the garden. And what we're doing now is, this is manure, and Andre got this little roller scraper thing, and we have a 50-pound bag of manure in there, and we're just running up and down because we wanted to see how long it was going to last and to see if this is something that's actually viable. So we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Andre's on 7 now, and it looks like that's going to be about it. And so that thing's 2 feet wide, and you're going to get about 6.5 to 7 rows. Our rows are just under 80 feet. So let's see how long that'll be. So when I said manure, it's composted manure. I just wanted to make sure that clarification. And I tilled this earlier this week, and I'm getting ready to go in. I have the bed former 2.0 on the tractor. The bed former 2.0 is the same thing as the other bed former, except we took the middle piece out, which created that little trough in the center because we don't need it right now. And I have new straps, which hopefully will be better. So basically, if we could get 6 rows, that would be 12 feet wide at about this amount of manure. And ideally, you know, we're going to have a lot more than this, but this is at least a good start. So one bag actually did a lot more than I thought. Now, earlier this year, we didn't have that contraption, so I just hand flung all the manure over here and just kind of shotgun scatter shotted it. And so that's the thing right now. Then once these beds are formed, we're going to do 3 beds here, and then on the far row, we're gonna have an area that's going to be big enough to put the melons and the pumpkins, which are not going to be in rows. And then we're going to create a little area that's going to protect them, so if water comes in, it's not going to flood them, hopefully. So instead of me trying to spend 5 minutes and not explain it properly, we'll just do it and then I'll show it to you. So first step is done, which is the manure, and then the next step is going to be actually get the beds formed and get this thing finalized.
And here he's finishing up the bed for the cucumbers. We have a nice big expanse for all the pumpkins and watermelons and other squash type stuff. And the rest of the garden.
All right, the beds have been made. I actually took the tractor and pushed them up a little bit so they're in line with the ends of the other beds. So we have 3 additional rows that we're going to have here. This entire area right here is going to be nothing but pumpkins and watermelon. And then we're going to have some trellis stuff here. We're going to be using cattle panels for trellis. And Andre wants to use one of the squashes and the cucumbers. We're going to trellis up. And so the bottom of the trellis will be on the right side of the bed, and then obviously we'll have a T-post or 2, and then the top of the trellis on the back side. She wanted them over here, so if they shaded anything, it wouldn't affect anything. If you hear in the background, I think that's Lacey chicken songing because she's been complaining up a storm. And so everything on the left side over here, this is not going to be used. So this is going to go back to be just what all that is. And that's fine. We didn't know exactly how big the garden was going to be. We amended the soil in January, and so we just picked an 80 by 100 foot area, hoping we weren't going to use more than that because our soil is a little bit on the too acidic side, so we're having to augment it with lime and to get the pH up a little bit. And so we went ahead and limed everything all the way to the end over here. We also limed this entire area last year, and it was about a 5.4 pH, and it was raised to about a 5.8. And then now we've added more lime inside the garden area, so hopefully it can get above 6. 6 to 6.5 is what we're shooting for. We don't want to go anything above that. So if we can maintain about that level of pH, I'll be happy. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to come in with the shovel and create a little barrier that goes all the way across. The barrier is going to serve two purposes. One, it's going to keep water from inside this main area here so the plants don't get drowned out. And two, I'll show you over here. We have our main line pipe, which if you see the white right there, that's the main line pipe. And normally the main line pipe for the irrigation is black, but you can get it in white, which is UV coated. And we wanted it to be UV coated, even though it's going to be below the straw, which will hopefully make its lifespan a little longer. But we got to run that all the way out to the end over there. And so I was wanting to create a little berm area so it wasn't going to have to traverse too much elevation change. So anyway, I'm going to shut up now and we're going to prep all of this stuff. All right, irrigation system is complete. What we did is that came with the kit from Drip Depot were these connector pieces here. So we connected from where we ended the system before. Then we added 4 additional rows. These are going in the center. So you got there. This was the end of the first 100-foot row or tube. And then we have the second 100-foot tube, which goes all the way out to the end over there. And then we got what's left, which we're going to put back in the storage building. We just tested this. We just flushed and tested the system. System looks good. We are not going to put irrigation in where the pumpkins and the watermelon are going. We're hoping between nature and the straw that'll give them enough moisture. Here is our little dam that we have. So if we ever get a monsoon, the water should not breach and start flooding inside of here. It should go around, and then just like we did over on the other side, we have our little 4-inch drainage tubes that goes across here. So if any water starts to collect, it'll go inside that drainage tube and go in between the rows. Now, one thing we did different than we did last time is these rows were about 4.5 feet on all the original ones. And the reason was I was using the front tire of the tractor as my guide. Well, the front tires are in a little bit from the back tires. So this time I used the back tires as the guide. And so these rows got a little bit wider. What we would like to do is to be able to get the yard cart through there, but I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be about 2 or 3 inches too narrow for that. But with as wide as they are right now, what we can do is Andrea had found some little garden seedy things that you can go where they got wheels on them and you can sit and they can pivot around and stuff. So if we have to harvest or weed or something, we can do that. We weren't able to do that in here because it was too narrow, but these are a little bit wider. And then, you know, we can improve upon it for next year, but I call this good. Now, what we have over here, so let me go over to it. All right, what we have here is we have pumpkins and watermelon and the lemon cucumbers over here. The pumpkins and the lemon cucumbers we grew ourselves, but the watermelon, none of our watermelon came up, and we didn't feel like waiting another few weeks to try again, so we just went to a local nursery and got a few watermelon. Now the pumpkin and the watermelon, they're not the great big ones. These are smaller, and the main reason for that is, one, Andrea doesn't like watermelon, so she's not going to eat it. So that just leaves me and Andrea's mother that are going to eat watermelon. And if I'm left to my own devices, I will literally eat watermelon until I start getting sick. So having smaller ones are good for me. And then second is we can give them to the sisters so the chickens can have some chicken snacks. Because we had watermelon last year growing all the way up until first frost. And there were a couple of watermelons after first frost Andre went out and picked, and they were kind of like slushy, and so she just kind of chucked them down into the chicken coop, and then the chickens had a little watermelon slushy. And so that's what we want to do with those. And then we have the lemon cucumbers, and those are pretty much going to be for us, unless we get too many of them. Now we're going to be succession planting, which means we're going to be doing more lemon cucumbers, because cucumbers have a very short lifespan, and we didn't realize that until recently. So we got these three, and we're going to try to get some more. The lemon cucumbers are going to be on cattle panels, so I'll show that when we actually get those up. We might or might not put the cattle panels up today, but we will have them up in the very near future. And so the next step is we're going to start strawing. And today is Sunday. Today and tomorrow is supposed to be nice weather, but pretty much the rest of the week is going to be garbage, rainy and stuff. The only day that might not be rainy is going to be Thursday, and Andre and I have work obligations that day, so we probably won't be able to do a whole lot that day. So ideally, if we can straw all of this today and tomorrow, that would be great, as well as planting these in the ground. The good thing is we have no weeding to do, or I should say we had very little weeding, and Andre's already done that. We had a little strip of weeds in between where the potatoes are and where the new beds are, but Andre's already taken care of those. Compared to what we've been doing, this has been a piece of cake as far as the weeding was concerned. So we're going to go in and take a break for a while, and then we're going to come out. We're going to straw first, and then we're going to plant. And so what I want to do is I want to straw an area and then stick like the pumpkin in the center of that. So then when we go to straw, we're just wholesale strawing. We're not having to go around plants or anything, because when we didn't have to go around plants over in this area, it obviously went a lot quicker, and it was a lot better on our backs. So anyway, I think I'm done rambling, and phase 2 of the garden is, except for the planting and the strawing, is pretty much done. Okay, this is what we did yesterday. We got all 3 rows except for this little bit right here, and we got this part here. Andrea got the back row done. We got couple of bales straw down there, and this area right here, which is in between the rows, represents 4 bales of straw. So it was a total of 20 bales of straw. So yesterday we were able to do our little mound buildups. We were able to put the irrigation system in. We were able to test the irrigation system, do 20 bales of straw, and Andrea planted cucumbers, which are right here. Now there's an irrigation line that runs down here, and it actually ran this morning, so the cucumbers got a little extra liquid refreshment. Now the reason we're pushing this is that it's supposed to rain tomorrow and most of the week. I probably said that on another video segment. If I did, I apologize. But we have about 16 bales left. Let me spin around here. And that's what's left. That's what I estimated of distance to get all of this done. That's why it's this specific width here. And worst case scenario, if I misjudged, then we got 48 bales sitting in the carport. So not too bad. I'm going to try to zoom in because it looks like the squash over here is flowering. There.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Andre, that was the Black Beauty?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's a Black Beauty zucchini. So it's a zucchini, just black. Or a very good dark green, one of the two. So anyway, I just want to give a little update of where we are in the morning, and the goal is to get this all done today and get our pumpkins and watermelon planted in the middle of their area. Okay, the strawing is complete. Andre and I finished it up earlier today, and so this area, which is from the end over here all the way over to where the potatoes are, which was about, I don't know, it was like 80 feet by about 40 feet, 42 feet, something like that. That ended up taking 39 bales of hay. We have our 3 rows right here, which we're going to be planting all of our summer crops in. I showed the cucumbers earlier. Andrea's planted the pumpkins, which there's 2 here. You can't see it, and I don't feel like going in the straw, but there's 2 watermelon in the center. Then on the bottom end, we're going to have, I think it's spaghetti squash or some type of squash that's viney instead of like a single plant like a zucchini. And so that's what this entire area is going to be. And these watermelon, when they start getting a hold, will just freaking go everywhere and take up just about everything. Same thing with the pumpkins. Now what Andrea wants to do, she wants a succession plant. So we have 2 pumpkins and 2 watermelon here. And then over on this side, she wants to get 2 more that we'll get in a few weeks and plant them over on this side. And then the squash, as soon as we can either get some local or be able to successfully sprout ours from seed that we have, then we'll do that. But this entire area is about 7,000 square feet. And it took 2.5 weeks of back-breaking work to do the first part because of all the weeds. It took 2 days, in essence, to do this part. And that included the sprinkler system and preparing the dirt for the sprinkler system. So yes, of course, if we going forward, we're going to do it this way from now on instead of what we did, but we were in a time crunch and things had to be in the ground, so we just had to do what was given to us at the time and then work itself out. So now what I wanted to do is I wanted to put the straw down and the irrigation system down and then start planting. So Andrea has, I think, all of our peppers next in line to come out here. And so what we're going to do is you know, where we're gonna have a plant, we'll just remove the straw from that area, put the thing in, then put the straw back. I felt that would be significantly easier than trying to work around the plants like we did over here, because that took a lot of time, where here we were just wholesale dumping the straw out. And so we still have 45 bales of straw left. So it took 81 bales of straw to do all of this, and which, according to my estimates, to do all this was gonna, I think it was gonna be 150. Now my estimates were based off of the internet, and everybody knows how reliable the internet can be. But I thought I was getting good information, and it's just all that we had at the time. So the fact that we're using significantly less than I thought we were going to use is good. And we're going to have a bunch of straw over here that's under the carport that we can use for other purposes. Like, we're going to be composting, so straw is a good brand for composting. If there's any touch-ups we need to do in here, etc., etc. And so the other good thing about the straw is going to decompose and add good organic material to the soil. So it's going to help significantly with our amending. And just like our manure compost that hopefully we're going to start ramping production up here in the not too distant future, that we're going to put into the garden, so then we can increase it as well. So next step for the garden stuff is going to be to plant everything else that we don't have already. And then from the looks of it, because we're getting garlic scapes and everything, it looks like we're gonna be harvesting garlic beginning to the middle of June. And onions are going to be probably right around that time also. And it's kind of sad that the straw is only going to be down for about a month. But the fact that the straw is going to be adding organic nutrients into the soil, and the fact that Andrea wants to start planting things in the same beds. Like, for instance, what you're looking at right here, this is the Missouri corn bed, garlic corn bed. These are the corms that my aunt gave me, and for the most part they have not popped up. And so what we're going to do is the tomatoes are going to be going in this row, and the corms are on the side, just like with the regular garlic. So they're in 2 rows like this, but the tomatoes are going to go in the center. And what that'll do is that if the corms start coming up, then the corms and the tomatoes aren't going to be like right on top of each other. And according to companion planting, garlic and tomatoes can grow next to each other no problem, where the fragrance of the garlic can help keep bad things off of the tomatoes. So we'll see how that happens, and we're going to want to start doing that with other rows too. And then Andrea's talking about possibly getting some fall and summer crops where the onions and garlic are now, so then we can continue to use the garden area pretty much all summer. And then when it comes to fall, then we'll prepare it for the winter time. So that's the idea, at least. But if you've seen any of the videos that I do, I always give these grand things that I'm going to do, and then everything always changes. So we shall see how it's going to happen. But as of right now, the strawing is done. I'm very happy about that. And so now it just looks like a big pile of straw, which is good, but it shouldn't be too long. And the watermelon and pumpkins are going to start taking off, especially the watermelon, especially as it gets hotter. And then we'll have watermelon and pumpkin vines all over the place, which will be good. and it's supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow, so the straw will help keep the watermelon and pumpkin area not only cooler, but it'll also, or warmer if it gets cold enough, but it'll also keep the moisture in. So, all right, done rambling. All right, not done rambling. I just wanted to say one other thing. We originally tilled, 80 feet from where I am now towards the trees, and then going left to right was 100 feet. We ended up not needing this part. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let it go fallow again. And then when it starts getting high enough, I'll just start mowing it like what I was doing before, which is fine. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, 7,000 square feet of garden. The biggest garden I had ever done was last year, and I think that was about 500 square feet. So this is a significant ramp up from what I've ever done before, but that's what we wanted this year to be. We wanted this year to be, can we do a larger garden than we've ever done before? And then, is it something that we would want to do in the future? And would the things that we want to grow as potential cash crops, are they actually going to grow? And so far, the answer is going to be yes. If we can keep the weeds down initially, like in the first rows, then I would say 2/3 of my labor time would have been eliminated. Because up until, up to date, I probably spent over 2/3 of my entire gardening time, from preparing the beds, preparing the irrigation system, planting, maintenance, and everything. Probably 2/3 or more of that time has just been in the weeding aspect. And if I could cut that down significantly or eliminate it completely, then yeah, it's just harvest time, planting time, and then maintenance time in between, and that's it. And then the rest of the time is just making sure everything's okay. So, all right, I'm done rambling, for, as the kids would say, for reals this time. And next step is going to be finishing the rest of the garden out.